Imagine waking up from major surgery, your chest aching, struggling to breathe, only to find yourself locked in a foreign prison, totally cut off from your family and the world. That's the reality for Vladimir Vera, a 33-year-old asylum seeker from Venezuela whose story highlights a collision of law, health, and human rights that's unfolding right now. Vladimir's journey is the kind you hope never happens to anyone. After fleeing Venezuela, he arrived in the U.S. seeking protection, but in January 2025 things took a turn for the worse. Doctors had to remove his entire right lung, a massive, rare operation that would leave anyone vulnerable and in desperate need of careful recovery. You'd think the focus would be on healing, maybe hope. But just 2 weeks later, Vladimir was detained again, despite his recent surgery and a history of tuberculosis that already scarred his lungs. Then came the shock in March. U.S. authorities placed him on a plane, not back to Venezuela, but to El Salvador's notorious Supermax prison, the Center for the Confinement of Terrorism, or Seeker'S. Why? Because a centuries-old law called the Alien Enemies Act was suddenly dusted off and used to deport Vladimir and over 200 other Venezuelan men, most of them asylum seekers, to a prison infamous for its harsh conditions. This law, meant for wartime threats, suspends basic legal rights for people from so-called hostile nations. Vladimir's mother, Mariella, is desperate. She hasn't heard from him since March 13th. No calls, no letters, just silence. She doesn't even know if he's getting the medical care he urgently needs. Think about that, recovering from losing a lung, locked in a crowded prison, where even a mild infection could be life-threatening. All she hears are DHS claims that Vladimir's in good health, and their assertion that he confessed to a murder and is part of a notorious gang, allegations his mother insists are untrue. And Vladimir isn't alone. Nonprofits are documenting others sent to Seeker'S with asthma, diabetes, muscular dystrophy, conditions that require ongoing care, not isolation. Lawyers argue, even if someone has a criminal record, due process shouldn't just vanish. Deporting vulnerable people to a country they've never called home, where their lives may be at risk, is now facing serious challenges in federal court. So, what does all this mean? For me, it's a stark reminder. Policies are not just headlines. They're real people with real families and real needs. Vladimir's fight isn't just for his own life and freedom. It's about how we as a society choose to treat the most vulnerable among us. And that's a question all of us should be asking. If you found this story eye-opening, I encourage you to stay informed and keep the conversation going.